What is your "but I'm the manager" story? Along the same lines, I was at my first trade show for a product I invented. It hit the market in February, and the trade show was February 26th. A guy came to our booth and cocky told us that he'd seen our product before and he didn't like shit made in China. I literally laughed in his face. I said, "I invented it. I make it in the US, and it's only been available for 2 weeks." He just looked at me suspiciously and walked away. Giving an interview for a restaurant job. The guy has a ton of experience and seems like he's more than capable of it. Only thing is, he's a job hopper. Worked at something like 10 other restaurants in town in the last year and a half. I asked him about it, why he was in and out of all these places, and he says, "Oh, I keep getting into conflicts with people. I really just am not good with rules. I prefer to do things my own way. I never get along with management. So, in case the fact that I'm interviewing you didn't give it away, I'm the manager here." He lost all color in his face and thanked me for my time. Working night shifts at a gas station. My coworker's sister came into the store trying to buy cigarettes without an ID. I didn't say anything about it. He rejected the sale just cause he could. Using the excuse the manager may chew my ass out, she responded with something along the lines of, "How would he know?" I chime in coolly with, "I'm the manager." I work in a retail outlet store. We receive all the older merchandise from the main stores in the district so they can make room for newer collections, and we sell the old stock at a reduced price. There's nothing wrong with the clothing, it's just from an older collection. However, because of the reduced price, everything is final sale. We won't take returns or exchanges. Before every transaction at the cash we remind the customer that their purchase will be final sale, no exchange, no return. And then once the transaction is completed, we stamp their receipt with final sale. Of course, sometimes exceptions can be made. If the item is defective or the customer is really nice, we will make an exception. Anyways, one day a lady comes in, and I can tell she's one of those customers. Cuts me off as I'm greeting her to tell me that she wants to return an item because it didn't fit her or something like that. I explained to her that, "Look, I'm sorry madam, but there is nothing that I can do. Everything is final sale." She replies that she was never told this. I take a look at her receipt and I see that it's been stamped final sale. So I tell her, "Look madam, somebody must have told you because your receipt is even stamped." Immediately she goes off on me, yelling, screaming, swearing, saying how incompetent I am and that's why I'm working in retail because I can't find another job and blah blah blah. The whole time I'm just staring at her. She finally finishes her tirade by saying that she shouldn't listen to a lowly employee like me, and then she asks for the manager. I cleared my throat. I looked her dead in the eye with a grin on my face. "I'm very sorry for you right now, but I'm the manager." She just deflated. All the gusto goes out of her, swears under her breath, and leaves the store. The part that really gets me though is that the shirt she was trying to return, it cost $5, but it was the best moment of my entire part-time retail career. Not the manager, but was in charge, working in a kitchen, and whoever was on the close ran the shift. I ran closes 2 or 3 times a week depending. I rocked into work one day, started doing my shit, and doling out tasks and when they needed doing. One of the newer staff members decided they weren't following my orders because I wasn't any higher up the food chain than they were, in their eyes. Dude, why should I do that? You're not a manager. I'm gonna carry on doing my job, which at the time consisted of standing around waiting because it was about 10 PM on a Monday evening and nobody was ordering food. Nah man, I'm on the close, so it's my kitchen. We need to get this place cleaned, and I'm allowed to delegate roles. You're lucky I've given you an easy job really. You could be doing what Gara's gotta do, where you're guaranteed to get first-degree burns if you're not careful. Fuck you. I've told you, I'm not listening to you. I'm done in 2 hours and you've got no power over me. Actual manager walks by at this point. Hey, kid. This is SG_Dave's kitchen for the night. If he tells you to do something, you do it. He can run a kitchen better than I can, and if I have to come in here to make you do some actual work, I'll make sure he gets you cleaning behind the grills. It's always fun to see a lazy worker get reamed for being a dick. Not exactly the same, but I saw an argument in my university once. An undergrad was so sure of his position that he referenced a book he had to prove his point. The person he was arguing with wrote the book. It was above efficient airfoils in an aerodynamics class. On the other spectrum, my boss a few years ago would ask the secretary to do something, and one time, she was like, nah, we won't be doing that. And he was all like, but I thought I was the boss, and walked away with his head down. I used to run a bar. I'd usually be in the office or supervising, but I got bored one night and covered the bar whilst the bartenders went out for a smoke break. This woman comes up with her friends and quickly becomes an annoying customer. Takes forever to decide on drinks, keeps trying to get free shots, trying to haggle on drinks prices, all while being rather rude. I start to get irate as the bar starts to get busy. More and more customers are trying to get drinks, but this woman will not decide what she wants. Eventually, I tell her that there are other people waiting to be served, and I'll come back to her once she's ready to order. That shit did not go down well. The woman starts shouting at me, saying how she could take as long as she wanted. She was there first, blah blah blah. She ended her ranting saying that she didn't want to speak to a shit bartender anymore and demanded to see my manager. I obliged, went into the office, a door right next to the bar, waited for 30 seconds before coming out, went back to the woman and said, I hear you've been having an issue with a member of my staff. Huh, is this a fucking joke? I said to go and get your manager. Me, you're looking at him, love? And seeing as you've wasted my time and all the good folks' time, you can wait till everyone is served before you. The look on her face was priceless. She began swearing at me profusely, even tried to throw someone else's drink over me. By that point I had more than enough reason to throw her out of the bar, which I did, to the delight of the other patrons. I was tipped well after that, but I put that shit in the tip jar cause managers don't get tips. At least the bar staff got some money and a laugh out of it. I run a textbook rental store. A chick comes in with books so overdue that she has a $260 late fee. I wasn't going to make her pay that, but the only way to pull that off without hardcore unbalancing my drawer was to have her pay the replacement fee so that she owned the books, then sell them back to the store. I knew the sell back prices, so I knew she'd get out of the store paying less than $40 as her late fee. However, when I suggested this plan, bitch went apeshit. She starts talking about how she didn't know the due date. It's on the receipt we give them, and I send out 2 reminder emails. If you didn't get the email, sucks to be you, and that it's not fair, not fair, not fair. When I pointed out to her that our store stickers were on her textbooks, which would have been a reminder of where she got them, and that there's a due date, she asked to see the manager. I probably shouldn't have, but I actually walked to the back of the store, and then walked back up with a big, fake smile on and said, hello, I'm the manager. What can I help you with? She was livid. She tried to pull some my manager store too. Bullshit. But I cut her off and said, if you manage a store as well, then you understand that this is a business. I have policy to follow. No one at this store is your mother, and you are a college student. If you can't remember due dates, you got problems, girl. Cue this old chestnut. I'm never coming to this store again. None of my friends are ever coming here again. I told her, good, go write a Yelp review, bitch. Was being trained as a manager a few months ago. On my first day managing the floor by myself, a customer from earlier in the day came by demanding to speak to the manager on duty because TL. Doctor, we royally fucked up her $45 order and that we had to replace everything. Now, I'm a rather petite lady and I have a baby face. Didn't have manager shirt yet. My size had to be custom ordered, but I was a full-fledged manager. I said I was the manager and asked what her name was so I could check my problem customer book in the office and see if her name was there. It wasn't. No problem. I just asked to see her receipt. Surprise, surprise, she doesn't have a receipt from 2 hours ago. Sorry, lady, you aren't in the problem book and you don't have a receipt. Best I can do is some free food coupons, like ice cream or a free sandwich. She asked to speak to the manager. Honey, I'm the manager tonight. She said I was inadequate as a manager and that I deserved to be fired or something. I'm paraphrasing here. Told her I was sorry, but I couldn't replace her order, and at most I could give her 1 free meal. She screeched and stormed out. I was working as an inventory manager at a large chain. 2 people had called in, and we were so short-handed that I was getting sweaty helping to unload a truck. I got a call that a customer wanted to speak to a manager, so I quickly pinned on my name tag, "We don't wear one," while moving boxes, because snags and ripped shirts, and went out to the floor. I greet the customer and ask her how I can help. She eyes me skeptically. I'm flushed and sweaty and dusty, not looking very managerial. She points to my name tag and says, "That says supervisor. Is there an actual manager here?" I look down. "Oops, old nama tag." I say, "Excuse me. One moment, please." I go in back and put on my manager nama tag. Take a second to tidy myself up. Walk back out with a big smile. Just got promoted. How can I help you today? Not a retail story, but a manager story. I'm a manager of a manufacturing company. Since I have been here we have had an issue with an employee. Basically he is a sleazy bully who picks on people and likes bossing people he shouldn't be bossing. It has escalated since I joined the management team, and last Thursday it took a turn for the worst. He so pushed a guy he works with, a guy who is very hard of hearing, that there almost was a fight. Big dude, tall and heavy and strong, was almost in tears when I took him in my office because the sleazer bag had finally gotten to him. He had specifically used Big Dude's hearing damage to pick at him, and the incident was about the bully making fun of Big Dude's lack of hearing. Not fucking okay. You don't make fun of people's disabilities at work. Dude is a great worker. He deserves no shit just because he doesn't hear too well. I got to take the sleazer bag into my office one final time. I had taken him in there many times before. Those times he just smiled and asked me to point to any particular incidents. This time he did the same thing, but I told him to go home immediately, call his union rep and return on Friday. The look on his face when he realized I had finally had enough of his shit was priceless. I'm going to go out and ask him for his union rep's details now. I'm going to savor the look on his face as he feels the news tighten. Of course the motherfucker knows it won't be cheap for us to get rid of him. He has been banking on that keeping him employed for a long while. But I, and the whole rest of the management team, don't give a flying fuck anymore. So what it might cost us $100k to get rid of him, I don't care. That's cheap compared to the damage he has already done. We are sitting down with our lawyer tomorrow. Then we are firing that dirty piece of shit bully. My favorite is a common one. I'm the youngest in my store by 30+ years. Customer asks about price of product, says "Are you sure?" and walks off. Usually 5 minutes later I will see them talking to a coworker asking about price and coworker yells, "Diabetes, can you check price on?" I walk over smiling and just say the same price I said before seeing the look of shame that they didn't trust me cause I'm a young shit. Worked as a telesupervisor for about 8 months. I wasn't the highest person in chain of management, but because I closed, the branch manager was gone pretty quick after I got in. So there was this one jackass customer in the drive-through lane, and he wanted to cash a check not drawn off of us. He had an account with us, but it was overdrawn a good bit. I had already been there for about 5 or so months at this point, and had never seen this guy before. After looking over everything I proceed to tell him that I unfortunately wouldn't be able to give him cash, but if he wanted to deposit it, his money would go in that night. He got visibly angry with me and proceeded to tell me he didn't care and wanted to cash it anyways. I once again told him that we wouldn't be able to do that, but told him he could take it to the bank it was drawn off of, which was right down the street, and see if they would cash it. He gets even more angry at this point and pulls out a stack of hundreds, tells me to deposit it to make his account positive, and then cash the check. I explained to him our policies again, and even though I could budge a little, he was being a douche, so I said no. He then asks to speak to the manager on duty. I tell him it will be one moment while I grab him. I do a little 360 and tell him that my manager has left for the day, leaving me the manager in charge. I give his option one more time, and he deposits the check and leaves. I have never felt more triumphant in my life than at that moment.